Success in the automotive industry is abundant and defined in many ways. That's what we are here to explore on the Cutting Edge Garage podcast. Now, have you ever looked at a picture of a crazy cool vehicle and thought to yourself, wow, if only I could have that? Yep, us too, and so is David Ankin. The only difference between us is that he turns his dream vehicles into a reality. Today's guest, David Ankin, has been a restaurant owner, promotions director, new product director, a stuntman, and an actor in his own show, Toymakers. In Toymakers, you are brought into the high-speed world to watch a creator of one-of-a-kind racing machines and his team design, build, and drive mind-blowing vehicles. What we want to know is how this big kid living out his dreams and passions came to be so successful. Welcome to the first ever Cutting Edge Garage podcast.
So, David Ankin, first of all, thank you for taking the time to be with us today.
Man, glad we're here.
So tell us who you are. You've done so many different things, really cool, blessed life that you've had. Walk us through who you are and what you do.
You know, I'm just a big kid living a dream. I've been very blessed. We now have a television show. We have Toymakers on the History Channel. I have an incredible team of people around me, an incredible group of vendors around me, surrounded by the stuff that I love, the people I love. The industry is incredible. Being a gearhead, my whole life has somehow been surrounded around that. No matter what I've done, I've sort of surrounded myself with hot rods and motorcycles and cars. And now we have a TV show on the History Channel, and we got a spin-off show coming out. It's a digital series called The Fast Society, and just living a dream, to be honest. We're very, very fortunate.
That's awesome. So you've been a stuntman, restaurant owner, Batman, so to speak, promotion director, new product director, and a builder of big kid toys. So let's start with the big beginnings of the career.
Honestly, as a kid, it all went together. It sounds like I did a lot of things. I really did not. What happened is if you're in the stunt business, for instance, you don't work year round. So you end up in the restaurant business or the bar business to try to supplement your income, or you get hurt. You can't make a living year round in the stunt business. You get hurt a lot. Or if you don't get hurt, you get chosen a lot. So you do an interview and you might wait 3 months, 6 months to do a job, or you might get the job and do it, and then it might be a year before you get another job. So you're constantly doing things. So the bar business was very easy for me to get into it. And I don't know how to settle at anything. I'm not going to work in a bar. I end up moving up to management, moving up into owning the damn thing. That's just what I do. I don't like to be idle. I don't like to do just a little of anything. I tend to jump in, and I jump in head first, unfortunately.
So tell us about some of the stunt background.
It's funny. As a kid, we used to ride motorcycles, play, crash, everything we all did as a kid. As I grew up, and then Six Flags and Universal Studios and all that stuff started to become big. I'm an old man now. Six Flags, for instance, was instrumental. Every summer you got to go out and play a character. It didn't matter if it was a Wild West show or Batman or whatever. So you really you get to go in, you get to wear the real outfits, play with the real props, and play Batman for the summer. And it was a great, great deal. And then that grew into a future of doing that stuff. The problem is it's really who you know in the business. And I got to play in a lot of motorcycles, cars, trucks, you name it. We drove it, we crashed it. And it was a great time of my life. It was a carefree time of my life. You just had a ball. You could run around. I'm Batman. It was really sort of a fun time. But in saying that, it also opened my eyes to fixing stuff all the time. You couldn't afford that poster on the wall. I wanted to learn how to build that poster. And when you have to do tricks on a bike or a car or something, somebody else building it might not understand how to do the trick. They were capable of building a car or a bike, but they didn't understand how to do the trick. I knew how to do the trick on the machine. So I ended up off season, I would end up building the cars or bikes that we had to do in the shows, which really worked hand in hand. So I could build it better. I could build it where it fit my needs and what I needed to be safe and be functional and make the trick better, or create a new trick maybe a stunt coordinator was looking for, which just grew into a great little career. But unfortunately, you don't heal fast. And as you get older, you don't heal as good. So it really just grew into a passion and a love of the industry that grew. So when, I tried to buy a bar, it's okay, I'm done with the stunt business, I'm going to buy a bar. Well, that was the stupidest thing on the planet, because then I instantly turned that into an event bar. Well, now we're doing stunts at the bar to bring people in. And then
I don't want to do stunts on TV anymore. I'd much rather do them in the bar.
Yeah, you get 5, 6, 7, 8,000 people show up, and you're doing tricks in the parking lot on a stupid motorcycle, inviting all your friends down there, and you gather people. You sold beer. It was cool. But was it? It's like, oh my Lord. I don't know how to do anything sort of. So it's it's been a fortunate life. It's been a gradual life. Like I said, everything you just said, whether it was a bar owner, a stunt guy, or an event coordinator, they all work hand in hand. To have a bar, you had to be an event coordinator to bring people to that bar. And you end up with multiple bars. Now you're doing events through multiple locations. Then all of a sudden the town's doing events. So it's, some of the bike weeks were 450,000 people. And to get them people to come to your bar, you had to be an event coordinator. So it may have sounded like we did a lot of things, but it was all in the exact same timeline to make our business be a little bit different or excel a little farther than somebody else.
Makes perfect sense. So let's talk about how you end up being a stuntman. Is this a conscious thought process of, when I grow up, I want to be a stuntman?
It's a real long story, but the short of it is we were out playing one day. We had a couple of girls with us. Another guy showed up playing on his bike. We were playing on ours, and he was hitting on the girls, and he was some big Hollywood stunt guy. In the big scheme of things, I didn't believe a word he said. He was trying to be friends with us to get to our girls, as far as I was concerned. Ended up making friends, and next thing you know, we're at an audition, and next thing you know, he wasn't lying, and next thing you know, I was a stunt guy. I mean, whether it was the Wild West show or Batman, or we just really, and it was good money for a kid. I mean, I was young at the time. We had an absolute ball. But it really was just the good Lord looking down on me, saying, look, if this is what you love to do, go out and do it, and realize there was a living that could be made at it. And that was an amazing time of my life. I'll never forget it. And even to this day, looking back, I don't believe you have to fail to go forward. I believe you have to fail to succeed. So I think you can do anything you want to do. And the stunt world fell into my lap, and I just didn't say no.
So what prompted that decision to go from stuntman into I need to do something else? What was it that got you there?
Injuries, just plain injuries. You get hurt. You're constantly hurt. You find that people want you to do more. Nowadays with TV or anything, you can do stuff in CG. There's younger guys coming up, crazier people than you are. Some people don't care about safety. You gotta learn what is the next step. In my life, even to this day, I'm in the middle of television in a new digital series. I'm not anywhere where I'm stopping. Everything is a stepping stone. Everything is a stepping stone. So, for me, it was never an end game to be a stunt guy. I never wanted to be a stunt guy to begin with. What I wanted to do is, realistically, one day I want to write TV. I want to write movies. I want to be a stunt coordinator on a big movie. I laugh at these things. These people get paid big money to do these big movies and presentations, and they're dead wrong in the technical side of it. It kills me how they get paid all this money and make millions and millions and millions of dollars for the movie, and it's technically wrong. So that's where I want to go, and then go from there and go from there. I don't think you should have a plan. I think you should trust in the good Lord to put it in front of you. And as long as I'm willing and able and healthy enough to do it, I'm going to move forward. I want you to think about something, Lee. You and I, we met on a fluke. I meet a lot of guys, like you or Precision or David Vassar over at Night. I'm surrounded by incredible people with incredible products. What guy gets to do that in their life? My 9 to 5 is amazing. It happens to be 6 to midnight, but it's like, but it's an amazing world if you really think about it. Nothing prompted me. I just don't stop excelling. If there's a path, I just follow the path. Good Lord.
So it wasn't really a decision to get out. It was a decision to move to the next chapter.
It really was.
Been there, done that. It's time to do something, moving forward.
Yeah, and most people don't know that option when it comes, and there's always 3 or 4 options in front of you. Some aren't the right options. I don't ever jump, but if the right option feels right, and I think about it and I stew on it and it makes sense to me, I move forward. And sometimes you might take a step back, but I promise if you take a step back, you can always take 2 steps forward.
That's actually much like how we met. I was actually kind of surprised in the short time frame that it actually took you to make the decision to say, yes, I want to work with SB Tools. I was shocked, to be honest with you. But as I get to know you, I understand that thought process. If it feels right, I'm gonna move with it, and then if it doesn't work out, I'll figure out something else.
And I don't want to boost your ego at all, but remember, I was sitting with another tool company, actually with another tool company, with another vendor, and when your name came up, and I mean, actually with another tool company, and we were talking back and forth with the other tool company, and the vendor brought your name up. You and I sat down and talked, and I'm telling you, I talked to that other tool company for 15 years. I've used them for 15, 20, 25 years in my own world. Talked with them on and off for a couple years. You and I sat down, and that's all it took. For me, it's a feeling, it's a thought, it's a need, it's a want. It isn't. If it feels right, I go. If it doesn't matter who you are, what your credits are. If it feels right, I go. You look at your whole team. You got an incredible team. You got an incredible family behind you. Your morals are more in line with my morals. That all means something to me. My son is my entire world. So, to me, that meant something to me. And like I said, when you and I met, I was in a room with another tool company and another vendor, and the other vendor brought your name up, and from that day it sort of moved forward. That's why I talk to him, and before I make a decision here, let me talk to that guy and just see what happens. And instantly, you and I clicked. I mean, I don't like you, but you and I clicked.
Yeah, I get that feeling a lot. I don't know why I keep talking to this guy. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So, Toymakers, huge hit. So Toymakers has gone from the Discovery Channel to the A&E platform, correct?
Yeah. We were on Velocity, which is owned by Discovery, for a couple of years. History came to us. Our numbers were incredible. I mean, we really did very well. And we're a privately owned IP, which is really rare in that world. Most of the time, they're all network-owned shows. They have a new drive block on History Channel. Ask us to come over. Been a home for us. Now like I said, we have a new digital series coming out. This virus has sort of got things all up in here. We're halfway through filming season 4, and it all just stopped. So, but honestly, it's funny. I talk to them all the time. They're good people over there. Everybody in their head office has been there over 20 years. They're just good people. And when you talk, I don't even worry. Now they've got rights to Barrett Jackson now, and there's all this stuff coming. I'm doing their short forms with them. And you feel like part of the family when you're there. Even though I feel like everything is just dead stop for the last 6 months, it really hasn't, as far as where we're going in the game plans. All it's doing is cementing your feet with good, secure people. So moving to history has been a home run for me. I can't say anything negative about Velocity. They were amazing, and all them guys were really good to us. But I feel like we got a good home over there. And now with the new digital series coming out, we're able to spread our wings and do it more movie style. I'm not even David Ankin in that one. They're calling me Reed Carolina. So based loosely around my life about a stunt guy that got hurt, and now he's out of rehab, and injuries are all healed up, and trying to get back into the game. So it's sort of fun to play a alter ego of myself, I guess, so it's fun.
That's awesome. So are you the bad guy or are you the good guy?
I'm the good guy. I'm the good guy. And Jason, my right hand in the show, is the bad guy. He runs the bad guy shop. I can't let the cat out of the bag, but there's a big star actually playing the bad guy that hires Jason to run a competing shop against me. So it's funny, like Ashley, my assistant, she plays for the bad guys. Jason, my right hand, manages the shop for the bad guys. My son works for the bad guys. Awesome. Everybody on my side is hired actors. So we're using real cars. I mean, that's cool. So it's like, for instance, you take SP tools. The tools you'll see in the show are real tools that we would really use. The cars we're going to race and play with are real cars that are really fast. There's no CG in it. If the car wheel stands, it's because it wheel stands.
You mean this isn't Fast and Furious?
It's not. Listen, you can't knock Fast and Furious. They make millions, but it's Fast and Furious, but technically right. So if you lose a race, it isn't because you shifted 24 times and hit the nitrous and blew the floor pans out of the car. We're going to use real products, real brands, and real fast cars. Some of the players in this are big time people. I'm fortunate to be able to play with them.
Awesome. So how did Toymakers come about? How did you end up starting the TV show itself?
I had a bunch of friends in the business. Everybody from Ami James from Miami Inc. to Buck over at Pimp My Ride. I mean, I knew a bunch of people in the business. Never wanted to do television. I could have cared less about having a TV show. Done a bunch of stuff with a bunch of them guys. And matter of fact, I was over at Jay Leno. Jay Leno was doing one of his shows, and we did a car over there. And they're also saying, dude, you need a show. I was like, I don't want a show. Didn't want nothing to do with the show. And they kept browbeating me down. Before long, I had 4 or 5 producers calling me left and right, just saying, look, you need a show. And, they just, once it started to make sense, again, most people would have jumped day one. I just didn't do it. It probably was 4 or 5, maybe 6 years. I said, no, absolutely not. Finally, I said, look, if I can own the IP, if I can have some content, I don't want a bunch of swearing. I don't want any fighting. I want to be able to control the content I bring on to I don't want to use a tool brand that I don't agree with or appreciate. I don't want to use a turbo that I don't understand or agree with just because it's money related. So we argued back and forth for a number of years. Finally, they said yes. And I never thought they'd ever say yes, to be honest. They said yes to all my demands. And here we are 4 years later, and we have a TV show. So it's awesome. Arguably the hardest thing I've ever done, but arguably the most rewarding.
Okay. So in that process from, looking back on the whole career aspect, what would you say is your biggest win?
You know what? This virus has brought that out. Producers always asked me to get my son more involved. Year 1, I did an episode with my father, myself, and my son. We called it 3 Generations. Incredible show to be able to bring my father and my son into an episode. My father, I could only hope to be the man he is, the fabricator he is. That he truly is an inspiration and one of my heroes. To be able to bring him into a show and to bring my son into a show. I never pushed Braden, never once. I just didn't do it. So he did very little of the show. He could have cared less about being in front of the camera. And so I never pushed him. when this virus hit, he started hanging out with me at the shop every single day, doing his homework half the day and coming down in the shop. And I was interviewing a few new guys. Finally, he goes, Dad, why don't you let me try? I said, dude, whatever you want to do, get down there and try it. He started working with Jason. Before long, to watch him turn the corner, the biggest thing for me is watching my son realize in his life what he wants to do. Never wanted to push him. I was scared to death if I pushed him, he would go the other way. Watch him build his own. He's 14. He built his first car. He did. Watch him learn to drive it. Watch him. He drives a standard. I mean, I'd put him against almost anybody right now. He can drive the wheels off that car.
Half the kids Braden's age don't even know what a standard is.
You're exactly right. And he's using handbrakes. Now he's landing his own sponsors. I mean, there's another show on Discovery Channel called up and said, dude, is that really your son? Or are you driving that car? I said, that's my son. Dude, we'd like to supply some of his parts. I mean, it's amazing to watch him grow up, look at you in the eye, talk to you. Miller Welders now reached out and said, look, man, we're bringing young kids. And Braden is really doing well. To watch him interact with Jason, it means the world to me to watch my team, watch Ashley, watch some of the guys work with Braden. And Braden, man, they get along like they've been working together their whole life. That has been instrumental for me. That right there, watching my son turn that corner and realize that, look, I might be building something he can grow right into. And that truly, it hits home for me.
That's great. I can tell you from the time we visited last year, so that was, I don't know, sometime in July of last year, we came up to the shop. Steph and the girls came up, and Courtney and Faith have been following Braden on social media ever since. And Courtney remarked to me the other day, she's like, Dad, Braden has grown, so he's grown, it sounds like, emotionally and mentally, but also physically. Her comments were, he's turning into a young man, and you can see it in his posts and in his physical appearance, but also the things that he's doing. So that's awesome.
You know how hard it is for me, and you know me, I'm a talker, to have a brand show up at my shop and say, look, David, thank you for letting me meet with your son, and we go to dinner, and they're there not to talk to me. They're there to talk to Braden and have Braden look at, and me sit back and watch Braden talk. And listen, he's not polished by any means. None of us are. We don't do this, but to watch him sincerely, to me, it's about passion. This industry is about passion. Anybody can do it. There's a million builders out there, a million guys that are amazing at what they do. But to watch somebody with passion, that's what makes you good at something. To watch him talk about it and talk about his car and what he did and how he did it, where he's going and why he wants to get there, and what means something to him. It grown up, you're exactly right. He looks me in the eye now when he talks to me. He's filling out. Man, he's taking driver's ed. I mean, he's a man. He talks like a man. He's respectful like a man. And that, if I've done anything in my life that's been a success, it's my son. And it's an amazing, amazing thing.
That's awesome. So while we're talking about Braden, we got to plug his brand. So
yeah,
let's talk about that for a minute.
No, Gearhead, Team Gearheads with a Z. It's funny. I really had nothing to do with that. He's got those stickers now. And one of my other brands, Star Guys are incredible guys. They're down in Florida. They build all the monster truck bodies. They got together and even made him a logo. To watch my brands embrace Braden was amazing. So it's Team Gearheads with a Z. And he's just, he's slowly starting to go up. He's slowly, learning how this works, how to give back. We're doing a thing this weekend, where he's going to go out and, he's working on the car now with us. He's got a job to do when we show up at the racetrack. And it's funny, his brand is is going to be amazing. It's going to be bigger and better than anything we ever dreamed. But we didn't understand branding when we were his age. He's got an early start, and it should be really fun to watch.
That's awesome. He's on Instagram and Facebook both, correct?
I know he's on Instagram, and Facebook would all be covered up. So I would assume it's all on Instagram, to be honest. Okay. When it comes to Gearhead, yeah, Team Gearhead.
Okay, awesome. So I can say honestly, as a father, I definitely get the that aspect of your kids growing up and maturing and finding their way in life, being a huge success. What would you say your biggest failure has been, or your biggest? I don't like to use the term failure. We all have challenges. What would be your biggest learning experience that you've had in your life?
I believe in failure. I believe you have to fail to succeed. I believe you have to lose a race to win one. My biggest failure was not doing something. You get in there and you pause and you don't jump when you should jump. Anybody can run to the edge of the cliff, but you can't get any farther if you don't have a little bit of faith. And sometimes you drop faith. Sometimes you work hard and you wonder if it's worth it. I've been there. I'm an old man now. I'm 56 years old, I think. And I think not trusting my heart, believing in my mind was probably my biggest failure at a young age. You think, God, is it really this much work? It is. You truly have to work to succeed. It isn't handed to anybody. But if you put the time in and you persevere and you're really, really persistent, you can go anywhere. Sometimes I wasn't that at a young age. It took me a minute to learn it. I wish I'd have been a little smarter and a little quicker.
Definitely. So walk us through real quick, and we talked about it a little bit on the SB Tools meeting. For everybody else, and obviously I know the answer to this question, but why SB Tools versus that other brand?
Honestly, I could give a bunch of canned answers. The real answer is there's tools. Okay, you can go anywhere and get tools. The problem is there's a quality that comes with that when it comes to a good quality mechanic and you're hunting things. There's an organization that comes with that saves time. Time is money. And then there's a product behind the product, if you will. There's a service department. When you can call, okay, we met, for instance, you're a tool company and I'm a vendor, realistically, there should be a general, you get together and you do the deal. That isn't the way this went down. This went down, I genuinely liked the company, met a few of the people. It's great. The product really can't badmouth the product. It's a top-notch product. But the service department behind it, to be able to make a phone call, get somebody on the phone and get a response, and the right response, even if you don't like it, is important. So it's far more than great tools. It's a package deal.
That's awesome. I was stoked about the relationship for sure. We were we had reached out to the guys at Factory 5 with the interest, so in one of my, as my team would call it, my manic phases, where my mind's going a million miles a minute, I came up with a brilliant idea. We should build a car, and then we can, and we could use, we could film it, we could use it as a training thing, and get as much leg out of it as we possibly could from a marketing perspective. And Robin, who used to be on our marketing team, happened to know Dave Smith. How, I don't know. I think maybe Mac was trying to do something with them at some point. And he's like, hey, I've got this deal with Snap-on. Factory 5 does a lot with Snap-on. But I know a guy, and I'll send him a text right now. So he sent the group text, and next thing I know, you and I are having this conversation, and it just kind of felt right. It just kind of made sense. And that's what I liked about it. It just, I didn't have to work for it, if that makes sense. And I think when it's what you're supposed to do, or if it's the right thing, you shouldn't have to work that hard for it. It should be right.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was saying earlier. And you know, since you brought up Factory Five, Dave's a good friend of mine. You're the owner of Factory Five, and I was sitting in there with Joey Logano and another tool company, and we had left, and I got that text, and it's funny because I feel the same way. It's how I feel about my life. If it just feels right, you some people ignore their feelings. I don't ignore them. If it don't feel right, I have no problem. I'm a big boy. I'll get over it. But if it feels right and it's life, enjoy it. Enjoy life.
So how are you guys making it through COVID? That's got to be,
It's
so you talked about it a little bit with the change to production, things like that. A&E is not doing a whole lot as far as filming right now. So
I, again, I believe in looking at the positives of a situation. Right now, I'm so far ahead of what I would be doing normally, which is amazing. It stinks if I stay in the rut of what we were doing, I'm in trouble. But you got to turn the corner. It isn't like it was. I don't think it'll ever be like it was ever again. So you got to look at what you have in front of you, take the best of it. Now, realistically, I can build almost everything to completion. And then we change the storyline a little bit. So it actually makes filming a tad easier. Okay. The unknown factor is, when do we start filming? When can we get it in the can? How do we change the storyline? Because now we're not building a complete car on camera, but yet I still got 30 brands or 40 brands I have to take care of. That's hard when you're doing everything off camera. So you start changing your storylines, and it's sort of turning it into some fun. We're having fun changing the storylines around and making it work. How can we take care of an SB Tools? You and I've had some great ideas, but ultimately now, man, I got my race trailer set up. You show up at the racetrack, get the roll cart, roll out, and we're still publicizing the brands. I got brands call me all the time, because they're trying to figure out how to make their companies work. How do they survive? How do they sell products? So if I show up at a racetrack, I got a 30, 40, 50 brands we have to take care of. I have to take care of them. They're trying to figure out how to survive too. That's been you turn it into fun, or my mind has to work to be successful. You could get mad as this sucks and it's over and we got a virus and we can't do anything. You don't go anywhere by complaining. Put your
yeah,
head down, figure out an answer.
yeah, you never find the path forward when you're looking behind you.
No,
You know, ever.
you got to put your head down and find the answer. Everybody else is doing it. There is nobody any better than me and my team. I put my vendors and my team against anybody on the planet. If we can figure it out, we'll figure it
So the digital series is coming out when, or planning
out. So
on coming out when?
we're hoping end of September. So
Okay,
um, that would be really nice, the end of September.
and that's going to be on what medium?
It's all digital. So anything digital, from Netflix to YouTube to Amazon to Hulu to all the digital platforms. That's the advantage to digital, is you can put it out there. It's doesn't cost anything. It's on the digital platforms. You're just looking for likes. So it's huge.
That's awesome. So, advice to young kids. I know that one of your passions is, and maybe because of Braden, but it's the young students and the young kids, trying to get people into the industry. Um,
Our industry's dying. I look at somebody like Jason, which is right hand on the show. Jason's talented. He comes from the NASCAR truck world. He can hang bodies. He's incredible. That talent is dying off. People my age are dying off. The young kids coming up are into video games. So for me, I want the industry to survive. Kids less fortunate, terminally ill, maybe they just don't have the options sitting in front of them. Go out there and talk to these kids and make them understand. Just put the time in, put the effort in. You can, every industry, I can't stand it when a kid tells me there's no job. Let me tell you something. I've owned a bunch of businesses, and you tell me this isn't the truth. You might not be hiring today. I don't need anybody. But if the right guy walked through the door and said the right things, you'd move people around and hire.
Absolutely.
There's always somebody you'd like to replace because he isn't doing what he should be doing. He's filling a void.
Yeah, right now it's the guy behind the cameras.
But that's it. And I just believe in that. I believe you gotta give it all, and there's always a spot.
Yeah. So what's your advice to somebody wanting or contemplating getting into this business or this industry?
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Go away. Do something else. Take up the video games. No.
It's all hard. Don't do it for fame. Do anything you do in life, not just my career, not just your career. If you're going to do it, make it something you love to do. If you love to do it, yes, it still works. You'll never work a day in your life. That's a lie. It's still work, but you surround yourself with people so your good days are really good days. You're still going to have bad days. You're still going to work 24 hours a day. That's real success. When you're constantly growing, you reach this plateau and you grow a little bit more. You reach that plateau, you grow a little bit more. That's how you grow. That's how my advice to you is put your head down and do it. Get to the edge of the cliff and jump. You can't get there if you don't take that leap of faith. Have a little faith and believe in yourself and the people that put you there. Just believe. Just and give it everything you got. Don't quit. Can't go anywhere.
I think if you bring enough passion, when you get to the edge, you didn't realize there was an edge there. It's when you find out you had wings.
Yeah, you're darn right. And listen, you're gonna soar if you work hard enough. Yeah, you might fall down, but listen, I promise you're gonna heal up. You're gonna get back. You're gonna jump. You will eventually not fall. You will. If you got enough passion and drive, you're gonna get there. I thrive on passion. Thrive on it. Somebody's good at it, and dude, I want them in. I want to be around passion. I want to be around good people.
That's what I've always told the kids. Find something that you're passionate about, and then we can find a way for you to make a living doing it.
Yeah.
Don't go after the money. But, find something you're passionate about, and then let's figure out a path for you to make money doing it.
And honestly, it isn't about money. Quality of life, doing what you love to do, being around people you love to be around, hanging out, telling the silly little stories and the fun and the goofing off and it's nothing in life's easy. That's a lie. Nothing in life is easy, but let me tell you something. It's very rewarding. It's very rewarding.
So Toymakers, season 4, upcoming.
Yeah.
Any idea on when they're gonna air season 4 yet?
Dude, I would give my right arm for that to be September 2. So that's really in the air. The way things are unfolding, I can almost see the digital series coming out first, just because I've had one crew of people for so long behind us. In different parts of the country or in different parts of lockdown or can't travel or can't. I got people out of New York, people out of California, people all Michigan. So for me, the Fast Society, the digital series, I'm going to hire all local guys, all from right here. So it's real easy for me to put them together and be all right. The Toymakers is a little bit different. We pull from all over the place. I got to use big crowds. We use big, we're using Z-Max, which is a 4-wide, drag racing strip. We need to put 10 or 15,000 people in there. And right now you can't do that. So realistically, we're building a 10-acre facility behind my property now for some of the stuff for the Fast Society. And we're going to use a lot of city streets for the Fast Society. So I don't need big crowds. And all of my camera crews and editing crews are going to use all from North Carolina. So it's a little bit different. I've I'm tired of giving myself, okay, we're going to do it 2 weeks, because it never happens. And the governor comes in and postpones it for a couple of weeks, or something else happens, or I don't really care. As long as we keep moving forward, as long as the sponsors are happy, and we find a way to get to the end game. The end game's coming. It isn't like we're going anywhere. It's just it's me practicing what I preach and having some perseverance, relaxing, doing what we do, and not quitting. You can't quit. I've said that a bunch. It's hard. It's because right now we're in a big holding pattern, and it's horrible. But at the same time, everybody around me, all of my brands, all of my staff, everybody involved, they're all in a holding pattern. I don't ever call a brand and they go, dude, this is awesome. We love it. And hope things keep going. Nobody's doing. They're all looking at what's coming.
Give us some more. We love it. Got to have it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah. It's you and I've had the talk, how do we keep our companies, and I think that's what it's about. And if you think about that scenario in itself, I'm surrounded by, I think I've probably got 60 or 62 brands in total that I deal with. And, I call you directly. I call all these CEOs or presidents directly. We all laugh, we all cry, we all joke, we all figure out, how can I help you? How can you help me? What can we do? The end game is the same for all of us. I don't care what it is. I don't care when it is. It's persevering and all of us surviving long enough to reap the benefits of the passions that we love and what we do for a living.
yeah. It helps being a car guy. And that's a unique breed of person or gal, because Emily's looking at me like I have two heads. So speaking of that, we have a running bet, so to speak, here at the shop on what SEMA's gonna what does SEMA 2020 look like, and my thought process is you're not gonna get the car guys to not show up. I think it's going to be SEMA as we're used to seeing it with face masks.
Car guys are a different breed. Number one, you don't have to be friends to understand each other. I don't have to like what you build to appreciate what you build. But in saying that, I'm going to SEMA. Most of my brands are going to go to SEMA. If a brand pulls out of SEMA, and I know a few brands that are pulling out of SEMA, but they're pulling out of SEMA because for business purposes, it makes sense. It doesn't make sense this late in the game. They can't recoup the $250,000 it takes for them to go to SEMA. They're still going. They're still going to go and represent their company. They're going to go in a different capacity. Car guys are car guys. You're not going to get me to not go to a racetrack. If you open the doors and I can get in, or go to a car event or a car show or a bike show, and you tell me the doors are open, you tell me they're not open or they might be open, I'll be at the gate. I'm just that guy, and everybody I know is that guy. I believe in washing your hands. I believe if you cough, cover your mouth. That's just that common courtesy. If you're sick, stay at home. This other garbage is baloney to me. But in saying that, SEMA is going to be different because cost effectively, a lot of companies lost money this year, and I feel for all of them. Some just can't afford to go. They're restructuring. And when this is over, they got to figure out what the new normal is. But I will tell you, SEMA will be busy. The car guys will be there. The cars will be there. I'm going to be there. Everybody I know is going to be there. I know you're going to be there. But it's going to be a little different. I think companies are trying to figure out how they survive the new normal.
When people want to learn more about Toymakers, where do they go?
All the digital platforms, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. I mean, come to an event, come to the shop. I don't come to North Carolina, come right to my shop. I'm easy. You know what? Honestly, for me, Toymakers go to your own garage. You want to know what Toymakers is about? Go to your garage. Everybody out there's a version of a Toymaker. But for us, we're on all the digital platforms. You know, I love the YouTube stuff lately. A lot of stuff on YouTube. But the digital platforms are really hot right now. Facebook's hot, Twitter's hot, Instagram's hot. They're all hot right now. We try to put stuff up as often as we can. There's a big drudge race coming out Friday. Some of the No Prep Kings from Discovery Channel showing up at our local track. We're showing up from the History Channel, and there's already been a $3,000 drudge race. Some guy's going to put me in the dirt because he's a real street racer, and I'm a TV guy. He picked on the wrong animal. We're going to stomp him in the ground. He doesn't know what's coming. But that's fun, you know, grassroots, guys showing up. He's going to have his crew there, and all the guys from Discovery Channel. We'll have our crew there, all the guys from the History Channel. And they're supposed to be the fastest guys on the planet. And we're just TV guys having some fun with some street cars. But I promise you, I'm not going to lay down. They are not whipping my ass.
Not easy.
Nope.
That's awesome. When is that supposed to take place?
Friday night. Matter of fact, it was sort of funny because it was sort of up in the air, and I said, "Yeah, I'll think about it." And then everybody started inboxing me and egging me on. And this guy's going, "Dude, he's a TV guy, and that blue car, he'll never get that thing down the damn track." And I'm thinking to myself, well, we've been testing every weekend. I know that blue car will go down the track.
That's right.
And fast.
Wait a minute. Somebody just call me out.
It is, and that's exactly it. And they're throwing dollar numbers around, and you know, we'll see if he'll show up. Dude, this is our home track. What do you mean if I show up? You're coming to my house. It's like, so anyway, so it's going to be fun. And then you know what? Honestly, again, they're gearheads. They're car guys. They're all good guys, you know. But we all have a little bit of an ego, and you know, like you guys have been again. I got a great big old head, so. You know, it's fun. It's nice to put the work of my team, to watch Jason. Jason spends 4, 5, 6 hours a night, you know, midnight, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I'll be getting texts because he's on the computer working out the programs and the stuff to make the car work and go fast. I figured this out. We're on the racetrack at, you know, renting tracks all by ourselves to go out there and really make the car work and make a hit. Nobody does that kind of stuff. So it's exciting to see the fruits of our labor, of my team, you know. Even David Young, you know, my partner coming out. Ashley's been instrumental in being a part. My son coming out, he's got a job. Matter of fact, he couldn't make it one practice day, about killed us. Where'd Braden go? Who's doing his job? It's fun. So I'm anxious to see how it unfolds, but I promise you, if anybody thinks he's going to stomp me in the ground,
they better tune in Friday.
And I will post it on social media. I promise you. I don't go into a race I can't win.
There you go. Awesome. Well, David, I'm really grateful again for you taking the time to spend with us today. Check Toymakers out online. Toymakers.com, is it?
Yep.
With a Z. Yep.
And,
Toymakers with a Z.com. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, you know.
All the digital platforms. And Lee, let me tell you something. To you, your whole team, your family, one of the most delightful companies on the planet. And you guys have not only, it helps too that you got an incredible product. So, you know, you guys are instrumental in making us do what we do. And it's a blessing to have you as a friend and a vendor. And please, thank you. And please call anytime. Love to be here.
We're humbled. Thanks again. Everybody, thank you for joining us in the podcast. And we'll see you again soon in the Cutting Edge Garage.